be watching if they get worked up. They seem pretty laid back right now. So.
Okay, we're good to go.
Okay, Jody, so we're standing here in the pen with the elk. Can you kind of explain, I mean, this is the grass that they're grazing on? Can you explain
It is.
what it is?
The pastures are a mix of grasses and clovers. And this one, they've really gone through and picked out a lot of the clover, but we will rotate our pastures. Each pasture has paths mowed in those, and that's where we drive when we come through to check the pens for calves. That way we don't inadvertently drive over one because they hide them in the tall grass, and it's difficult to see them otherwise. The cows, their diet right now is pasture, but they also get a little bit of supplemental grain. It's just shelled corn and dehydrated alfalfa pellets they get. And it keeps them in pretty good shape without making them fat, because we don't want them to be overweight. It actually causes problems at calving if they're carrying too much condition. So we try to keep them pretty lean. As you can see this time of year, some of them have lost all their winter hair, some have not. So the ones that look a little scraggly are the ones who are still working on that, and over the next few weeks they'll all be nice and dark brown and pretty and sleek.
Now, I was doing some reading and I saw that elk have two different teeth, or they have a couple different types of teeth that are in there than most other animals. Can you kind of?
Are you talking about their ivory teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually have teeth in the back, kind of molars. They only have teeth. They have in the front. They only have teeth in the bottom. They're like other ruminants that way. But in the back they've got molars, and part of them are actually ivory. So a lot of times people who hunt elk out west, or people who they'll save those teeth and they'll make jewelry out of them, because it actually is technically ivory. But that's what the people use it for, for decorative purposes like that.
You sell the ones that from here as well, or?
We have different times. Yeah, there are some people that buy them. There's not. The jewelry itself is actually quite expensive, but it's more obviously the labor going into doing that creates the high price.
So now I'm noticing you have some pretty heavy duty fence.
Yes.
What are some of the specifications?
The fence that we have is all 8-foot fence. Again, tall animals, they'll go right over a normal fence you'd build for beef cows. So all of it's an 8-foot fence. And as are the gates, and like I said, all these pens are joined together with gates and corners and alleyways, so we can move the animals from one place to the other without having to load them up or without having to let them out to go from one place to the other. They're all interconnected.
Okay. And I noticed that you kind of have one group here and another group over there. What's the differences, and why are they? There's
actually, within these two groups, there's 3 separate breeding groups. We had 3 different bulls with the cows. We have a rotation of 3 pastures right here that we use during breeding season. So I split them into 2 groups so I can let one rest at all times. But they're grouped by what bull they're bred to normally.
So then there's no bulls in
No bulls in here right now. The bulls go in during breeding season. They get put in with the cows in September and get pulled out in January.
Okay.
Well, December or January, yeah, somewhere in that time frame. And the bulls during the breeding season, or what's called rut, just like it is for white-tailed deer, it's called rut for these bulls as well. All they really do is just that. They chase the cows. They'll lose as much as 20% of their body weight. I've had them lose more than that in a breeding season, where they just work themselves just to skin and bones.
Huh.
So
how many cows do you have out here now?
There's I think 31 on one side, 35 on the other. That's what we've got right now.
And this is their calving season.
This is their calving season.
Have most of them had their calves?
No, we're really just getting started. Normally we've had a few more on the ground by now, but I'm thinking from the look of them we'll have quite a few over the next few weeks. Let's keep tabs on those cows back there. Don't like them when they come in behind you. So, we'll be done the first part of July usually. Once they start, they really once it kicks in, they get going. So we've got, we've only had, I guess now we've had 10 that have calved, so we've still got most of them left to go. We found 3 new ones today. So I'd say we're just getting going.
Great.
They're getting used to us. As long as we don't make a movement that frightens them, we should be okay. Hello, girls. Yep, we're right here. You don't need to come any closer. Stay put.
Now, will they listen to you? Or?
Well, they just, if I'm talking like this, they may not want to go ahead and come on over here. But if they start wandering closer grazing and one of us makes a movement that startles them,
They could kind
yeah,
of just run all
yeah,
over the place.
yeah. So it's best if they remember that we're here, and with the vehicle shut off, it's pretty quiet, and they're going to kind of get used to us being here. But if somebody suddenly takes a few steps that way, then they'll, yeah. So just want to remind them that we're still standing here
Okay.
because they are, yeah. You have to be very respectful of them and their space. They're
And
very curious.
They're all tagged.
Yes, they are.
Are they numbered or
Yes, they are.
named? Or?
They're tagged and numbered, and actually the tags, the color tags that these cows have, I can tell you who their sire is based upon the tag color. That's how we had been tagging them. So the ones that all have green tags all come out of the same bull. His name is Champ. If they've got a red tag, they came from a bull named Champ's Son. If they've got a yellow tag, that's a little more of a gray area because we got a few different bulls they could be out of if we bought them or if we raised them. So
Okay.
orange and pink, same way, different bulls. So
Now, do you register them? Or
there
how
actually
that?
is a registry. There actually is a registry for elk, just like there would be for beef cattle or dairy cattle or sheep or anything else.
Okay.
But when they're aggressive, what do they do when they're aggressive?
It depends. If they're posturing, I guess is the best way to say that, they'll make themselves very tall. They'll kind of get up on their feet. Their heads are held very high. That's kind of their posturing position. That's what they do to kind of tell you that they're not too pleased that you're there. If we're working them and we're up in the barn and we've got them in the handling system, they will do that, and their hair will go up kind of on their butt and along their back, and they'll pop their teeth from side to side as a threat. You'll see them pop their jaws, and you'll hear the pop of the back teeth when they do that. Out here in this situation where we're standing now, really not a lot of warning, because if they're not feeling cornered at the moment, hopefully. But when we're out here with the calves like that, it's just kind of one of those things that you just always know that that's kind of what they're thinking. That they may decide at any minute that's what they want to do. They're not going to give you a lot of warning out here. Sometimes they'll stomp their front foot, but usually if they're feeling threatened out in this during calving, they're not going to give you any warning. Like I said, that clicking is his movement of, yep, calf over there.
Over there.
Yeah, stay close, because if a calf is up running, they're all going to be on alert. So get close to one of the two rangers, Aaron. You might want to step up close to that one, or even hop in the back of it if you want. Might be a good idea. It makes you taller. Because if there's a calf moving, they're all going to be, anyone who's got a calf is going to be worried. Anyone who doesn't will be too. Don't come over here, calf.
That's her mom right now.
Okay. Go the other way, baby. Got too many people here to deal with a bunch of cows standing on top of us. They're so cute. As long as it doesn't make a noise, we're okay. Go the other way, calf. Go on. Go on. Yep, you're cute. Go over there so they don't come over here. It's okay, girl. See the second one over with the red tag? I'm guessing it's hers, the way she's acting. So hopefully he'll follow mom. But they're very cute. But all the cows, if there's, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's theirs or not.
They'll protect it.
But right now we don't have too many calves, so it's a little easier. But if you've got 20 calves out here and somebody does that, then you'll have 25 cows racing around, worried about what you're doing, and that's when that's when it actually is dangerous, because you don't want to be out when they're doing that, because they'll come at anything that's out there. So, and if they squeal, then you've got a problem. If you squeal, they all come running. So.
Are the calves always this curious?
Always. The cows are too, but a calf will be now. If we start the Ranger, that will change. We should go the other way, Lindsay. Be nice if you went the other way. Did it? Trying to figure out what was?
So how old is this calf that we're looking at?
It's number 4, so it'd be about a week old.
2 weeks?
No? About a week, yeah, see, it's not full 2. It's hot. It's been laying in the sun.
First one out here.
That's it. See, a good baby going the other way.
Just wanted a photo opportunity. And
That's right. Now it's ready to move on.
Yeah.
New opportunities.
Now the tongue in the air is just kind of cool off a little bit.
The calf at the time of the year? Probably, yeah, it was panting a little bit. I think it might be a little warm from the sun.
Yeah, it's warm.
You'll see that cow walking the fence down here.
Yeah.
They do that a lot of times when they're getting ready to calve. They're trying to find a spot away from everybody else. So during calving season, like of an afternoon, if you see a cow walking the fence line of an afternoon, you're probably going to have a calf the next morning waiting for you. So sometimes they do it if they're stressed or they're out here and they're just trying to get away from you. But sometimes this time of year, it's usually a sign that sometime in the next 24 hours they're probably going to calve. Not always, but sometimes. But that's like sign number one we look for when we're trying to see if anybody may have calved or we should be looking for one.
Female's going to the calf.
Yeah.
So now they kind of have a strong herding instinct still, where they kind of keep the calves all together and all look out for it, or no?
No. Well, they all look out for it. If there's a squeal, they're going to go no matter what. And there's usually one cow in each group who deems herself the mom, or what we call the watch cow.
Okay.
So that when we've got a lot of calves in a pen, there'll be one cow, and it's usually an older cow that decides that she's going to make sure that everything's okay. So you pull into a pen and you'll have one cow come racing up to you right away once we get further into season. And those are the ones you really have to watch out for, because they'll be there and they're kind of like making sure that all the calves are okay. But the calves are a lot of times, when they're young, or really young, they'll be spread out everywhere. The cows might be in one area and the calves will be on the other end of the pen, because they hide them, then leave them to go eat like they would do in the wild. As they get older, then the calves, you know, when they become a couple weeks, 3 weeks old, something like that, they'll start staying and hanging with the herd a little better. But up to that point, they get left and hidden, which is why they've got the spots for camouflage, because they.
How long will they keep the spots?
They'll keep, you know, these calves will have their spots through most of the summer till that hair coat grows out. So it's about the same, you know, by then they're up and they're moving pretty fast. You know, if you think of in terms of what they would do in the wild, then they'd be able to, you know, escape a little better anyway. But yeah, once that hair coat grows out, that's kind of, they lose it.
Do all the cows give birth every year?
We keep the ones that give birth every year. We actually preg check the herd. And those that aren't pregnant or have, you know, or haven't been for a couple of years, we'll go ahead and cull and get rid of. The ones that are here have all been preg checked and are all bred. That's no different than if you're raising, you know, any other kind of livestock. You're not going to keep something that doesn't produce, so we do the same thing. It's expensive to feed something for 2 years to get one calf out of it, or if it doesn't breed 1 year, it may not breed the next. You don't know what's going to happen.
Now, where do they get their water from?
They actually get their water from a waterer, which is right when we came in. There was a blue water when we came in. And then the one where we were staying out there by where we got the other ranger, there was a water there as well.
Okay.
There's also ditches that run through, and to be honest, they spend most of the time drinking from the ditches and drinking that water, and you know, they'll come up there, they'll drink from those if they're by it, otherwise they could care less. Winter time's the same thing. If there's snow on the ground, they won't ever hit the water, they'll see snow. So we gotta be careful our waters freeze over, because they don't get used enough a lot of times.
Wow.
When it's snowing anyway.
And do you supplement their food at all throughout the year?
We do. Like I said, right now they're getting a little bit of grain. This is actually the least amount of feed they get, because we don't want the calves getting too large. Any nutrition they take in now will go straight to the calf and make it bigger, and that can be a problem during calving. These calve very quickly from the time they're until the time they're ready to have a calf. The time the calf is up is usually less than 30 minutes, which is quite a bit faster than a beef cow or something like that. And just because, again, they're built to have babies and move very quickly. So they'll calve and clean up the afterbirth and move right away.
Wow.
So. Fairly content this afternoon. Must be the right time of day and the right sign of the moon, I guess. We've had a good week for it. Monday we had the storms go through, and then Tuesday we cut velvet at the what we call the feedlot. We did that, and the bulls were about as well behaved as I would have anticipated. They were good boys.
Well, that's got to be a heck of a job to cut velvet. I mean, what do you?
It's a messy job. Yeah.
Huh.
Because it's what's referred to as a blood pulp. So their antler, which is that big around, and that tall, is filled with. It's got a great vascular system. So it's filled with blood.
Yeah.
So it's messy.
Huh.
So
And you just cut it with
a handsaw.
a handsaw?
We basically put a tourniquet around the base of it to restrict the blood flow, and we get them in the chute that we use. It's a squeeze chute. It squeezes their body and holds them still like a little kid throwing a fit, and it keeps their head above. Because if you try to catch their head like a beef animal, they'll fight and they'll break their neck trying to get away.
Oh, okay.
So we just hold their body and their head goes up above, and then we cut the antler off and vaccinate and worm anything we need to do when we've got them in at that time. But we use a handsaw, little tourniquet thing around it, and cut it off as quickly as we can, put blood stop on them. The faster you do it, some people, there are people who like put halters on them to hold their heads down, and then, they'll have them in the chute for 10 minutes. The longer you've got them confined like that, the more their heart rate increases, the more stressed they are, the more blood they're gonna lose when you're done. So my theory is kind of the opposite. We get them in there and they're only in that chute for, tops 2 minutes. It's like they're in, we cut them off and they're back out, and it keeps them calmer, and by keeping them calmer, their blood flow, their heart rate is lower and they bleed less. I think they think that they're doing all and that's fine. But I just think the sooner you get them off and get them out, the happier and better off you are.
Now the antler won't regrow at
No,
all.
not until the
whole
following
season.
year, right? And then they'll shed what we call buttons, because it's just what's left at the base, and those will go hard just like a horn would, and they'll rub on trees and that kind of stuff, and they'll shed those in the spring, and then the new antler will regrow.
Interesting.
It grows very fast. They've seen it grow as quickly as 6 inches in one day.
Wow.
So it's one of the faster growing tissues that we have in nature and on an animal in this, here in the States anyway. Because it's, you'll see a bull one day, you'll see him 2 days later, and he'll look drastically different because of the growth. They grow in spurts like that sometimes.
Is all the bulls pastured together?
Right now they are, yeah. We've got our big herd bulls are together, and then our other young bulls are held together. Like I said, we cut the velvet off all the younger bulls. The herd bulls get to keep their antler. Those 3 bulls get to keep theirs every year, and then they'll drop their hard horns in the spring. But they have a pecking order pretty well established, so as long as you don't put them together during the rut, if you do that, then somebody will wind up dead because they'll fight, and yeah, it's a bad deal. We've had it happen before, so we don't ever group bulls together or change the pecking order during. Because even if you pull a bull out that's not top of the pecking order, we had it happen up there where we sold a bull one year at what we thought was the beginning of rut, and we sold him out of there, and he went to the place, and the next day we had a dead bull. That bull was not at the top of the pecking order, but it affected everybody else's place in it. And they didn't have antler on. It was, they just had their little nubs or buttons, and they just beat him to death. So the instinct for territory is very strong. Again, and you'll have, beef animals fight, hogs fight. All males do, and so it's not that different, but. She is really walking the fence. I think she's thinking seriously about becoming a mom.
Now, is there a certain time of day that they'll give birth, or?
Oh, it's usually, I don't know that it necessarily matters. During the heat of the day, they don't usually lay down and calve. It's usually, you'll find a new calf of a morning. I think it's usually, evening or nighttime or first thing in the morning, but you just don't usually see them calve during the afternoon. So, she's walking now. She might have a calf, later today or this evening, or maybe not. I don't know. It's just one of the signs we look for.
Yeah.
She's pretty serious about it because she's been back and forth with us standing here several times. So
yeah.
That's the other nice thing, because it kind of also gives you a clue as to who may have calved. They don't all do this, but some do. And if you see one walking the fence, then you at least have an idea, if they're not by the calf, who it may belong to. Just trying to get away from everybody to find that spot. So what's the end result with all this footage that you guys are shooting, all these interviews? What is the actual?
We're going to put together a website that'll be called the AV Barn. And what we do is we're able to take this footage as well as the interview and put it into a piece of software that kind of indexes it. And then it's going to allow you to search interviews across the indexing. So you could search across indexes. So, I mean, let's just say, we talked about fencing. And let's say we talked about fencing with 4 or 5 other interviewees.
Gotcha.
And you could search across fencing and learn things about fencing all the way across agriculture.
From chickens to elk, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll do things like that. There will be photograph galleries with this that you could look through the photographs from the interview. Some exhibits are going to be made out of this sort of thing for the museum. So you could be in an exhibit.
Well, there you go. Then I would be, although I'm not in the big museum, but it's not, I mean, nothing against, Springfield, but I mean, let's face it, Lindsay she's got me on that one.
Yeah. You'll be getting closer though.
That's true. That's a good point. Maybe I will. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that'd be fine. We're out north right now getting some footage of the cows out here. But yeah, that'd be helpful. Oh, okay. I don't know. That may be. I mean, not the folks with me anyway. Yeah. Oh, okay. That'd be great. Thanks.
Now, do they kind of have a pattern to where they are in the field during the day? I mean, do they move from one spot to another?
As you can see this time of day, all afternoon they're going to be in the trees. You occasionally see a cow out grazing them, but for the most part they're either grazing what they can or, like the cow down there, see her, she's lifting her head, she's eating leaves off the trees. You can see there's very few leaves, elk height, and as I mentioned, they'll go up on their back legs to eat them. So they'll, if they're hungry for a snack, they're likely just to eat what's there during the heat of the day. Of a morning or an evening, then they're out moving when it's cooler this time of year. But
So
this is their
push this group out of
because
the
they
trees
would
here.
otherwise be in the trees hanging out. Yeah, we've been rude that way. They're all right. They'll get over it. That's just good that we don't have a lot of calves in here because that's, they're squealing and running. It's a little chaotic. So how many more of these do you have to do? accident, and he has been in a wheelchair since then. So, but he's still an avid hunter,
Oh, yeah.
and So yeah, the guys that do, they usually have their own setup. And honestly, with the hunting, the way we do it here, it's semi-guided. So guys bring their own stands anyway and put them up themselves. So that's it kind of falls into that. But yeah, we do what we can to help. But yeah.
I just, I just think people with disabilities, why should they be denied things to do?
Yeah, nope,
Like they're
it
looking for
hasn't
things to
slowed
do.
him down a bit. So
So,
yeah.
that's great. That's fantastic.
And this room is kind of like an evolutionary thing too. That actually came from limestone, a limestone foundation of a barn we took down. We saved all parts thereof. We still have all parts thereof. But it turned into a really nice fireplace, which amazed me. You know, there's rocks all over the floor. I'm like, that's just not going to work out with it. You know, it's kind of like a puzzle or something. But the guy that did it knows what he's doing. So that turned out very, very well. And then we put game tables in because we have grandchildren and kids in the libraries. We have air hockey and foosball, and that's worked very well. We're just kind of like, it's kind of an evolutionary thing. We started, we're building it for hunters, and we realized, well, you know, we should probably not just limit ourselves, you know. So we kind of made a cross between a hunting lodge and grandma's house. So we always hope when people walk through the doors of the dining room, they just feel like kind of a big hug. My furniture here and my cabinets there were actually done by an Amish guy near Arthur, who's a friend of ours and a good customer, and actually summer vacations with us. He has a very upscale shop. This is like lower end for him. But I wanted everything finished alike, so I sent the doors, I sent this furniture all to his shop for the finish, because I wanted to match the cabinets. And you know, staining is just really tricky. So after I got these done, I realized I wanted to protect the tables. So I went out and I bought a gazillion placemats, which were cloth, could be laundered. I kept coming back and the placemats were not being used, so I began to ask customers, what do you want to use them and get them dirty? So then I was struggling again because I wanted to protect my tables. We're up in the Amana colonies, we had a fence job up in Iowa. Sat down at a restaurant, and right before my eyes was the answer. It was a paper placemat that told the story of the area. And I said to John, I said, aha, now we have our solution. So we have our own placemats made, which tells the story of the community, because people ask what went on here. So, you know.
And it's fabulous.
Well, actually,
Very well written.
Help me write this.
Very well written.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And people
Killed it.
Killed it. But people like we're used to these.
There you go. I fixed it. All right, let's get them upstairs. Chop, chop. Hot tub's in there. I saw you pointing to the hot tub thing. Room. So it works out. Yeah, this works out great. We use it. We actually use this place on Thanksgiving and use it on New Year's this year for family stuff. But we, you know, down to this floor back here. This actually is part of the high school gym floor when they took it out a few years ago. Doug went to the auction and bought, I have these giant pieces in my basement that I still don't know what to do with, because they had to take this apart piece by piece and put it back together because it had warped. So yeah, everything in here is, yeah, has something. So, and of course the antler is all our antler off of our bulls that we've collected, that made the lamps and the chandelier. And
Is that one of your bulls over the door there?
that bull actually, there's two representatives, Ken Duncan and Chuck Jefferson from the Chicago area. We work with a guy that does hunts, and they came and they took this bull, and I think at the time they thought it would fit somewhere. It's still here. It's not a real big one, so it's not like, ooh, look at the giant elk, because it's not. It's a smaller elk bull as far as antler and mount go. But so now he sits there until I don't really know when. Indefinitely. So.
It's all like you built it yesterday. It's just so brand
Well, it's
new.
been here a little over 2 years now.
And then some of the other racks
Are from the bulls that we have now, and they shed them.
Okay.
We keep the antler off of our herd bulls, and told you, like, you know, they keep them, they drop them every year. So we pick them up and we keep them. So some of those they're like off of the bulls that we use for breeding right now. So anyway, We've got a few more guest rooms down the hall, but everything, the porch goes all the way around, so all the rooms open up to the porch.
The views are just awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice.
People
It's
can,
sunset.
stay here at one time.
We can cram a bunch in. Mom, technically, how many beds do you have?
About 26. Again, we've had family groups of more because some people want to put kids out here on air mattresses or whatever, and I don't care.
Couches, whatever, yeah.
And other people want to have their own room to themselves, a person, so.
Yeah, we've got
You know,
beds.
there's a variance there. We have like 26 beds, 30 people easily stay here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Some families just want like togetherness, others really want their space, you know, so it's kind of their decision.
Good reason.
This is Jen Ford from the high school.
That's why I told him that, yeah.
I think I said I did play my clarinet.
There.
Yeah,
Oh, I've got some fabulous pictures.
good for you. Oh, this is great. So you got
Really
an urge to do this kind of stuff.
I enjoy that kind of stuff when I get time. I bought a Rebel XTI, but I haven't gotten a different lens for it yet. So I just do it for fun. Oh, Uncle Leo's school bus. So.
This room is really incredible.
Oh, it's great. It's the kids. You can just sit in here and be quiet and relax and drink wine or whatever.
That's what I got in here.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that angle. We're always trying to get better, new and better
And
pictures.
that was the one I just took. which is
That
kinda
one turned
cool.
out nice.
I want to get just a
Got enough
little bit
light.
of the window just to show where the light's coming from. Mm-hmm. And then
I am so popular. Everybody's calling me today.
here's the best one. Isn't it?
There you go. Good one. Good one. I like that.
That's okay. But this other angle is better.
Yeah, that's a
much
good
better.
one.
It really shows the room,
Yeah.
the skylight, and the upper.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And I like the idea that the head
Yeah.
can get in that because otherwise windows can be kind of boring. Oh, big blank white. Ugh, yawn. But this worked out really nice place you got here.
Well, thanks for
This is
visiting
really
us.
something. This is really, really something. I could just see families in here.
Oh,
just
like I said, we
just
do
going nuts.
we do Thanksgiving and we have like the rest of after Thanksgiving Day it's rented out for other families to do theirs,
Oh,
but
gosh,
yeah, we
good for you. You got
It's-
real success going here. This is
Well,
fun. And the view. I mean, look at these.
well, that's what we get some really cool
Yeah.
pictures when
in fall,
of an
it's
evening.
stunning
It
with
is
the
of an evening. Even in
Yeah.
the summertime. It's once everything gets really green, once the corn comes up and stuff, it really is nice because it's just the sky just goes pink,
Oh yeah.
and it's a great place to. It's a great view for that. So, yeah. As they end up, yeah. So we have several buildings. This is the main lodge. We've got other houses that we have done. All of them have a couple mounts in it with a score, so they can look at it before they go out and hopefully use their best judgment, and not have to pay the fine that we'll put on them if they don't shoot one big enough.
Oh, so you guys will end up finding them.
We find them. We personally find them. It's part of our deer herd management. They're happy to let them kill as many does as they want. We don't want them. And if they kill an older buck that's small, if it's like an older buck that needed to go, then that's fine. What we don't want them doing is shooting the young ones yet. So we fine them for that. It's our own policy. And some of the guys in the county, they'll fine them $1,000. Ours is not that steep, and we actually let them apply it too if they want to come back and hunt. A lot of our guys come back year after year. If they want to come back, then they can apply that to their next year's hunt. But anyway, that's kind of how that works.
Making it better and better.
And
And then you gotta know when to go.
His cousin
That's
David
it.
Turkey's
You've
name?
done enough.
Or
It's the one that shot it. You can go either way on that.
Saying how
We did have up there was this beaver that showed up, this mounted beaver. And I think it might be, it was in the conference room. Is it still in the conference room on top of the cabinets? Yeah. And the weird thing about the beaver is if you're sitting here like really late drinking a whole lot of wine, it speaks Spanish. We found that out one holiday when we were here together as a family. Suddenly it started speaking Spanish. So it's a Spanish-speaking beaver mount. I would not have believed it had I not been here when it happened, but I was here and I saw it. So it was a fact. It's a done deal. Don't know, I haven't heard it yet. It's a recent addition, so I don't know. I don't know if it's like one of those talking houses Mom was spouting off about earlier, if we have to have a radio